Welcome back everyone to Welstopia and welcome to 2018. Today we are going to start on level 2 of our dungeon. We are currently at the halfway point where we have the stairs coming down from the two side corridors. They meet here and then they continue down this way on a slow stairway. In the original game it's more of a ramp, but this is the best you can manage in Minecraft. And we come down here. We have two side corridors here. There will be a point where you go into the middle here, and this is going to lead into a main hall. My goal for today is to get the stairway down here finished, cut through the middle, and then do the corridor of elements, or the hall of elements, which is what we have up there. The first thing that we want to do on the stairway side is to continue down the ceiling. The idea there is to have the ceiling go down, and that way I could put in the lights, because I want the lights so that everything is nice and lit up, so that when I take away the torches I don't go around turning this place into a dark infested area where mobs are popping in all over the place. And I will be continuing, of course, the Prismarine theme on there. Now what I did up here is I have double lines there, and the purpose of doing it double is so that I have the working on with even numbers, since I'm working with 4 in each of the lines. And of course, if I want even numbers for that, then I'll need even numbers before I do with the lights. So I just decided on doing doubling for the lights rather than making it look asymmetrical. There you go, and then I'll just continue this all the way down. For this last little group here, we have only 3, because we have 3 also down to the next section. So therefore we have 2 sets of 3 rather than a set of 4 going on there. This time we will only have 1 light. So the pattern is not going to repeat perfectly, but we will maintain the symmetry we want. There you go. And then we have it for this corridor here. Now we won't have to worry about the floors, since the floors to this area are already done. How fortunate. So I'll just take this off here and finish that up. And I am going to be going through Prismarine like it's about to go out of fashion. With the ceiling and its attendant lights complete, we can remove all these torches, because we are going to need to break down walls, and to break down the walls, of course, we have to remove the torches. As I said, I don't want to leave things in a spawnable state, so that's why I am doing the ceilings first, then the walls. And the walls are just going to repeat the pattern that we have already established on the walls previously up there. And you can see that we are now hitting into the granite zone. If you were on the tour there, you'll know that I have used andesite for my walls all throughout the first level, and the idea there is I switched to granite for the second level of the dungeon, and then I'll be switching to diorite for the third, and the polished versions of each of those. There you go, and then we go to this, and then we'll just alternate down all the way down, and then repeat it for the other side. Now if I got this right, good. And there's always one that insists on dumping itself into the wrong spot. Good, and then that's it for there, and then we just have to repeat it on this side. There we have it. I have also finished up the floor, so we go in all the directions, and now I have this. This is the short entryway that leads into the area that we're going to be doing, the Hall of Elements, and they have a very specific definition in the original module of what we have here. And they indicate that at the intersection of the hall, you have the directions, the lighting for each of the 3 temples, and I'm going to have real fun trying to get that right. But over on this side, leading up to the first level, they have a portcullis of bronze. Now, of course, we don't have any bronze in this game, and I don't want to use iron, because iron is definitely something they avoided in the original module. Obviously, they wanted to use something that was an alloy of one of the noble metals. And since we don't have copper or any other alloy of copper, I decided, well, let's use gold. So therefore, I'm going to have a portcullis of gold here. Now, I was only able to get 12 gold blocks from all the gold I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat it as if the portcullis were raised. So therefore, it's in a half-raised position. So we've got the portcullis up here halfway up. Now, if I ever get so much that I could just fling around gold like crazy, then what I'll do is I'll put in a piston system, and maybe I can raise and lower the portcullis when I need to. So that's something that may potentially work. But that will be much later, and only if I get enough gold in order to make that even viable, since I don't have enough gold in order to do this. But I figured being in a half-raised position will give the idea. Yes, we have got this gold barrier, and you're able to get through. Now for the corridor of the elements. That is what they call it in the original module, but for some reason I keep on thinking, no, it couldn't be called the corridor of the elements, so I keep on calling it the hall of the elements instead. But what we need to do here is we're going to create a 20-foot wide corridor, which means 6 meters. And I'm going to therefore cut 6 meters deep, and then after that I'm then going to plunge out in either direction, where we are going to go for 50 feet in either direction, so therefore another 15 meters. Well, that is going to be, make sure I got that right. Yes. So that will be 6 meters going in this direction. I wasn't exactly sure what I said before, but it'll be 6 meters deep in that way, and then therefore it'll be 15 meters either direction after that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 more of these. So therefore there is going to be a great deal of digging on this. Now, just so you know, I intentionally chose to do this side first, as here I'm a little bit more sure of the measurements than on the other side. Because at the Temple of Earth, where we have the other entrance to this level, I had to take some liberties because of the shapes of everything, due to the fact that I don't have as much flexibility in shapes I could do as the original module does, so therefore I squared some things off. So therefore, I believe the other stairway starts a little bit earlier, so I'll have a bit of an extended corridor leading out from that stair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my work from this end, and then I'll extend the corridor out. That way, if there are any errors in measurement that I do, I'll either have to go out a little bit extra on the corridor, or hopefully it would eat up the slack that I had on the other end. At least that's the idea of it. So that's why I started on this level, because I'm pretty sure I got the measurements on this side correct. Now, guess I better put my torches here, because this is where we're going to have our serious digging. And here we have it. This is the way to each of the 3 temples that are in this area. The Temple of Air will be right here. The Temple of Water will be right here. And the Temple of Fire right here. Now, concerning the Temple of Water area, this is an area that I've already spent some time in, so I'll have to do some filling in here as I create the water temple. But that will be, as we get to that, for the air, that will be going down a bit and turning it into a rather odd shape. So I'm going to have to figure out the best way of handling this because it's a bit of an octagon in the original. And then down here we have fire, which I think would be a relatively straightforward one, though I'll probably need to use things like magnet blocks and lava and all sorts of stuff like that to make it a really fiery looking place. But now, what materials do I use for this corridor? Usually I've been using wood alternating with the floor's current active value. Now, that sounds all nice and good, except that I want each of these directions to be a little bit different in how they look. So what I'm going to do is that for the center area, probably for the center here plus whatever leads to here up to here, I will have it in diorite. Over here, we will use prismarine. And then over here, then we will be able to use granite. Which is fortunate because look at this! We've got a nice source of granite right here just in case we run out. With that plan in mind, I think that the netherrack right here is going to be a little bit strong. So what I'm going to do is I am going to remove it over here and remove it over here, and I'm going to replace this with stone brick, which is a nice neutral color. And then where is the stone brick? I must have run out. I'll have to go and get some more. Oh, no, here it is. I have to be able to recognize it. That's what I need to do. There you go. And then over here. Good. Now, I'll then be able to take this part out and replace this floor with diorite. Place that with prismarine. Now, before I do that though, I have to consider the ceiling. Now over here, of course, I was using prismarine all over the place, and of course using prismarine on this side is logical. But I'll probably have to go, but that means if I went with prismarine up and down and on the sides, it would look rather samey. Is there anything I could do in order to break it up a little bit? Well, probably using a little bit of the wood would be nice. Oh, actually, I know what I could do. Of course, I do have my usual pattern. Ah! Not that. I want something neutral, but not stone brick. Because I want to show that we do have something different here. And let's see, do I have any stone slabs with me? Well, I've got plenty of materials to make it with. Yes, of course. So first I'll see if I've got any on me, and if I don't, as it seems to be the case, I'll just make some, because that's pretty straightforward to make, especially when you consider that I have this overabundance of stone already. So what I'll use is I'll use stone slabs for this section. So therefore it's obvious that we have a pattern of stone brick in the middle and then something else here, and that way I come in with the diorite, and that will break things up a little bit, and I think that'll look much better. So let's do it that way. As for the ceiling, I'll probably go monocolor with the ceiling because that's what I've always done, and of course I'll break it up with the wood as usual. So let us start on in the middle area, I presume. And let's get our diorite section. Now the question is, what do I use for light? Because the sea lanterns, of course, will be in the water section. That all makes sense. For the air section, actually the air section is the toughest one. What I'll probably wind up doing for that is to use end rods. Okay, I could use end rods for the air section because have a precedent for using that for that anyway. And then that means for the fire section, using glowstone. So I really didn't want to cut that out. Of course not. I didn't want to do that. Let's put this back because what I really wanted to do is I wanted it to only be 3 high. Yeah. So let's go back on that. And what I want to do is to put in the... How would polished diorite look on a ceiling? Yeah, not bad. Alright, I just wondered because since diorite is more... I get the impression that traditionally in architecture, diorite is more of a flooring than of a ceiling texture, so therefore I just want to see how that would look. Yeah, I think that'll work. Perhaps this is a bit strong. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try switching it so that I have the wood on the top and bottom and the stone in the middle and see if that softens it up a little bit. I think that looks a lot better. Now we do have to do something about the lighting, which is going to be on the ceiling. Now I said before that I wanted to use glowstone up there, but I think that maybe we could instead try using end rods for everything except using different types of glass in between, stained glass for it. So what I have here is some some glass here. So what if I made some red stained glass, paired it up with some end rods, and see what that produces. And see what... Now I was thinking of putting it one in each middle here. Good, let's see. That means putting the end rod there and there. No. I decided what's more appropriate for ceiling lighting in a fire area than magna blocks, so therefore I'm using magna blocks right here. Now behind each of these magna blocks there is a sea lantern, because I don't think they give their own level of light, that they just reflect some other light that they're getting in. So I just have a sea lantern there to ensure that there is always a level of lighting to do it, and I think it works nice and well and gives just the effect that I want. So therefore that takes care of that side. Now on the sea lanterns, on the water side, it's... Well, I need to exchange the wood over there like I did over here. But I'll do the same here, except while I was originally thinking, of course, using straight sea lanterns. Yeah, just use straight sea lanterns. And this is the final result. I decided that exposed end rods sort of fit with the air temple motif, things floating up and the like. So therefore I decided to leave them that way. We've got the water temple this way and the fire temple this way. And the ends, they're going to be opened up when we do the individual temple points. Which one of them will we do first? Well, that's something for me to decide before the next episode of Piney Plays Minecraft Welstopia.